Shorty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep on. I'm singing my head every day.
Okay, I just got out of the shower, and the reason why I'm doing it right now is because the sun's setting, and the sun loves to set when I'm getting up. So I need to get this video out. Get the video out. Finals just ended. I don't even know what day it is, to be real with you. So yeah, my hair's still wet. So okay, today I'm gonna talk about the first semester of NYU Shanghai. Basically, it was all online because I'm still not there. As you can see, this is still my room. So I'm gonna talk about basically how the first semester went, my impressions, the hot mess that is still occurring. So I'm gonna break it down into different parts. Okay, because my skin is drying out in this winter, I'm gonna do my skincare routine and probably do something with my hair. Deep condition it while this video is happening. Alright, I'm struggling. Haven't slept, haven't ate well. Yeah. So, of course, all this is occurring during a pandemic, and I'm also at home. So what I'm saying might not apply in for future, semesters. But if stuff going bad now, you know, it could, if there's another pandemic or if this keeps going, you might, financial aid. Okay, I'm not gonna give you specific numbers because I'm not about to tell you how much debt I'm in, but I'm in debt. I'm taking out a loan. So basically, as most schools do, they offer you financial aid, or some don't. NYU is known not to give aid, especially NYU Shanghai. I'm not doing well financially. So under normal circumstances, I would have had some money saved up because of a job, because I was working during the year. Now I don't have a job and it's kicking my butt, so I don't have much spending money. So that affects actually, like, in the future, like how much spending money I'll have when I go to Shanghai, if I go to Shanghai, whenever stuff happens. The school was actually pretty generous with me. Okay, let me actually be honest. I'm not gonna give you exact numbers, but you can kind of guess based on what's online. About half of my tuition was basically cut in half. And with the grant that I received from the school, that grant I need a 3.0 to uphold, and I need to take 16 credits per semester, which isn't too bad because bio majors need to take around 18 credits per semester, so it's not that tough. But they cut it in half, but it's still above my EFC, which is the expected financial contribution, which is calculated by the federal government. So basically, it's a high amount already, what the federal government estimated that my family would be able to pay per year. But you know, it would still be helpful if NYU would bring down how much I have to pay per semester to that amount. But they haven't. I appealed first semester and they rejected my appeal, and I had appealed to other schools like way before I even accepted their offers, and the other schools actually gave me more money and said, oh, okay, well, we understand, or they would bring it down to my EFC. But NYU was like, nah. So I actually tried again recently for a spring semester, and they were like, no, but don't be discouraged. And I'm like, what? And they're like, don't be discouraged, you know, like, you can try next semester. And I'm like, if you're not giving it to me during a pandemic, if you're not giving me any more aid in the middle of a pandemic, are you really gonna give me aid at one point anymore? Like, it's been especially tough because the fact of how hard it is to travel to get over there, and how the tickets are like overly expensive. I even said that in my appeal letter, and I'm like, yeah, and I just recently moved, everything's more expensive, I don't have a job, everything's more expensive, like my family has medical bills that they have to pay for out of pocket and things like that. And they were like, no, sorry, we can't give you any more aid. And I'm like, so like, what would happen for me to give you, like, it seems like if I break a leg, y'all still be like, dang, you can't give you more aid. Of course, breaking a leg, what am I even saying? But like, what would be, like, if we lost our house, I feel like y'all would still be like, damn, but you didn't need to buy a house though, so, you know, you're not getting any more aid. Like, I don't understand. Okay, let me actually talk about loans a little bit. So I had my mom co-sign with me because you have like a higher chance of getting a loan with a better rate. And we did with was it fixed for a 10-year period, because if it's not fixed, your stuff can go up and down. It could be like as low as 1 point blah blah blah, but that stuff can go up to 13 point something% interest. So I don't advise it, but you can do it if you want. But I co-signed with my mom because she said she would help me with paying, because she understands that it's hard for me to come by that money. She doesn't want me to be in as much debt as she was. And I'm like, oh, thank you, so nice. And she's like, yeah, but if you fail any of your classes, I'm taking that back. I'm like, all right, calm down. But basically, yes. So if I fail any of my classes, that means I don't get a credit, which means I won't be taking, I won't have acquired 16 credits per semester, right? And that means that I'll lose my grant. And if I don't get a 3.0, then I lose my grant. So it may seem easy, like in high school, like keeping a 3.0, that was no problem, right? You know, you just need to do all your homework, right? Getting every assignment done is now a challenge because, well, I think it also might be because of the situation that I'm in now, but because I've been taking in a different time zone and I've been getting sick, you know, it's like stressful, and I just don't have access to certain things. Like they'll be like, oh yeah, scan this, and I'm like, my printer broke, and the teacher's like, that's no excuse. And I'm like, so I have to sit here and hand scan 15 pages. Like, girl, that takes time. But yeah, NYU doesn't want to give you money. They don't want to give money, and the school has money. It's not like they don't have money. I'm not saying they're filthy rich, but it's like you could be helping me out a little more, or at least trying to pretend that you wanted to help me out and be like, oh, why are you requesting more aid? You know, like, oh, really? Like, why is that? And it's like, oh, sorry, we don't have the money. Nah, they just flat out said like, nah, you're not getting any more. But try again. The next thing I'm talking about is the coursework and classes. Now, I am a bio major. I plan to be a bio major. I've known since 10th grade because that just seems like what I'm gonna do. I don't even know. I don't know what I'm gonna be. Don't you ask me, I will be like pharmacology, whatever. Something with science. Not physics though. We're not doing that. Because I didn't take calculus in high school, and then I didn't do well in pre-calculus in high school, I had to retake pre-calculus. So first semester, let me just tell you the whole process of the classes, because classes was so I was supposed to register for classes. I had a hold on my registration 30 minutes, a whole 30 minutes past the time that registration for classes started, and the classes fill up quickly, especially if they're freshman classes. So I was like I woke up, it was like 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. and I was up. I was like, and like the classes were filling up and I still had a hold, and I'm like, hello academics, hello. They got back to me, they released the hold, and I was like, all right. So I managed to get the classes that I wanted. I was freaking out, but my classes, my earliest one was, what was it? 8 p.m. and then when the daylight saving time thing shifted, it was 7 p.m. and then my ladies class ended at 6, and then when the time zone shifted, it was 5 a.m. So I'm a night owl. Yes, I like being up late, but that doesn't mean I like being awake at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. is different from 2 a.m. You know, going to bed at 2 a.m. is different. You know, I have insomnia, yes. That's lying in bed. That's not sitting here and having to pay attention, and the teacher's like, oh, why haven't you answered this question? Why don't you know this? And I'm sitting here and I'm like, yo, I want to die. Like, I'm about to pass out. Like, I'm so tired. Like, and so basically I figured out a rhythm at one point. But let me talk about the classes that I had. So I took pre-calc in order to help with my bio degree because I need to take calc. So I could take like biology requisites because you can't take biology requisites without calc. And then what else did I take? I took neural basis of speech and language because I do care. It fills one of the core curriculum requirements. And I'm like, oh, neuroscience, how interesting. Then I took what every freshman has to take, which is GPS, Global Perspective Studies, which I'm gonna talk about that later. And then the last class I took was elementary Chinese 1 because I am a beginner. Even though I took I will call it 1 semester in high school, I don't know anything. It's not the same as college level, it's not the same as functional speaking. So yeah. So first class, pre-calc. I took pre-calc in high school. Pre-calc in college is not the same. Definitely not the same. Definitely not the same at all. Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, I knew some of the stuff. If the teacher, I didn't really understand what he was saying, but he would, not as in because he had an accent, but more because like I didn't understand his teaching style. Like it just didn't work with me. So I would just, he allowed us to, we didn't have to attend his classes on Zoom. He would let us like go afterwards and like watch the Zoom recordings or look at the slides. And we had a recitation at the end of the week where we would take a quiz regarding that stuff, and if you failed the recitation, then you would have to go to a lab in the middle of the week. And I failed a few of those recitation quizzes, and I did not go to the labs because I forgot about them. To be real with you, like I would fail and I'm like, yeah, I need to go to the lab, and then I just never went. So yeah, that was a bad idea. Don't mind me, I'm dyeing my hair again. But with my bare hands, yes, you can search up, like honestly in math classes isn't too bad because you can always search up certain concepts or formulas or ways to do things online. So that isn't too bad. Like that's what I mostly did. And then when the quizzes came, you would just do them. I think they were like 30 minutes and they were online because I'm obviously still here. I was here the entire semester, but the other students that were there in person did the quizzes in person in the class. So you would have to go and do it in class, I presume, if you were there. But basically, I did okay in that class. Like math, I don't like geometry, it doesn't make sense. I like trigonometry because it's just formulas and you're like, you need to use this formula for this. So it isn't too hard for me. I mean, it's not as bad as geometry. Like if I had to take geometry, I'd cry, but it's still hard. Like I don't like math, I'm not good at it. So it's just unfortunate, but I have to take it. I am a STEM major, so yeah, I grilled through it. I passed okay. The next class was, what classes did I take? Narrow basis of speech and language. Now I thought because this class only had 2 tests and no like homework and like 10% participation, I was like, all right, that's cool. Like I'm gonna pass this class. I just need to understand concepts. When I tell you I struggled, like yeah, I get science, you know, I'm interested. If I'm interested in something, I'm gonna try hard to do it. He lost me after the 5th lecture. I was just like, and then like he has a calming voice, the professor, so I'd just be like, I'd be dozing off because it's 3 a.m. and I had a class directly after that. So I had his class at 3 a.m. and I was just like sleeping, and he would just be talking and he'd be going fast, and I didn't really know how like much information we had to know from what he said until the midterm came. I was like, damn, I got this. And he's like, it's open note. And I'm like, oh, I got this. I did not have it. I did not at all. There was no, I did not have it. I did not know what was happening. It was open note and I got a 56. You're basically supposed to copy down everything he says. I didn't know that. And then you're supposed to understand it enough to answer quickly. Now, I think if I had more time on that midterm, I would have been fine. I could have gotten maybe like a 70, which isn't great, but it's passing. You know, I just need to pass and then hopefully bring my grade up with other classes. So I didn't take notes for the rest of the semester. like a very bad student. It was a very bad idea. Don't do that. If you have lectures and there's nothing but tests, please take notes. Please take notes. Don't end up like me. Please take your notes, because there's a reason why there's no homework, because that is the homework. So I played myself severely, very badly, really badly. So by the time the final came, I joined a group chat with other students in that class that were online, or like previously online. Like one girl already made it into China, so we made a group chat, and we're like, okay, let's put all the notes in one document. Those notes took me hours, and I had 5 sections, 5 lectures basically. Each lecture is like an hour and 15 minutes. Hours. I'm telling you, hours. I had to note down everything. The final came around. It's open note, right? I'm looking at the notes. I didn't even get through half the questions. I didn't even have to. So I'm like, right now, I'm actually afraid that I didn't pass. I didn't get a 3.0 for this semester. I'm afraid I'm going to lose my grant. So I'm panicking a lot. What color is this? Okay. Like, I'm panicking a lot. Severely. Like, a lot. That class was really hard. Don't underestimate it. If you're gonna take it, you need to actually understand what's happening. Like, no cap. My next class was GPS. Everyone has to take it. There's a main lecture teacher, and then there's recitation teachers. So I know that I've heard that your recitation class really all depends on the teacher. Like, my teacher was pretty cool. Like, I was absent a few times per semester, but we'll talk about like how the teachers dealt with that and whatever more in the next thing when I talk about support system and whatever, the school staff, whatever. But child, that class, like, you have to do like 3 readings per week, which some people's not that hard, but like, if I'm not interested in the text and I have other work to do, it's not gonna happen. The reading's not gonna happen. So at first I was doing the reading, but it was just like so much that like my brain, I would sit there on like one page for like 30 minutes because my brain was just not having it. It was like, I'm not doing this. And I'm like, but you need to. Like an egghead. Oh my God. For the online version, we had a course video that was due for me on Monday. For them, it was like Tuesday morning. Was it Tuesday morning? Yes, Tuesday morning. And then technically I call it Monday because it was like I was awake from Monday night to Tuesday early hours, so I just call it one day. I used to spend like hours doing those readings. At the end of the day, I just realized that unless I need to specifically reference the text, if I just watch the course videos that were due each week, they had a little assignment that you had to submit online afterwards. If I just did those, then I was fine. Like, I just knew what he would even put quotes in there, so I actually didn't need to read anything. I could understand what the week was talking about perfectly fine, but that would become a problem when we had to do the writing assignments. So there was 5 writing assignments. And for some people, it's like, yeah, 5 writing assignments. Me? No, I don't like writing. I'm bad at writing. Essays take days. And I mean days as in me just sitting around doing nothing, and then in the last 12 hours, I'm sitting here freaking out, having breakdowns, and then somehow producing a really bad essay. But why the UPS man look at me like that? Yeah, but I'd have to attend the recitation for that class, and as long as I watched the videos, I was like pretty much fine. But then sometimes she would make us go off and like break out groups, and she's like, what is a specific idea from this part here? And of course the teacher didn't discuss that in the course video unless he managed to like go over that. But the recitation teacher would have us go in breakout groups, and then sometimes it was hard because like the students wouldn't want to share their ideas, and they had the better, like, they knew what they were talking about and I didn't. Like, I fully did not know what was going on, and I'm like, can you just like speak up, like, please? I just need you to say what we said because I don't know what we said. You said something and I didn't get it. So, but yeah, because I talk a lot, people are like, yeah, you should say it. And I'm like, I don't want to. I don't like speaking as much as I do it. I don't like it. This is not happening because I want it to. But anyways, yeah, I struggled with that. But some people, they found the class itself was interesting because we did talk about like a bunch of different topics. So I would say it was an engaging class. I don't regret taking it. I mean, I have to take it anyway, but I mean, I don't know, like I just don't like writing, so of course I didn't like the writing assignments. And then because of the time, sometimes I would sleep through the class because it was like at like 7 or 8, so that would be in my block of sleeping time, or I would just happen to sleep over. Or like, you know, if you're going out to dinner or you're going out, well, there wasn't much doing that in the this whole pandemic situation, but I had my friend's birthday fell on a Tuesday night, and that's when it happened. Or one day my other friend's birthday also fell on a Tuesday night, so I missed 2 classes. Once I was sick, so I missed it. So the last class, which was elementary Chinese, so elementary Chinese 1 I was in, so everyone has to take Chinese unless you're a Chinese student, then you take English. And if to go to the school, you need to know enough English, conversational English, in order to, because it's an American university, it's taught in English. So I would say, I mean, languages, it really, I guess you have to have a passion for them too, to really be like, yeah, learning experience. But my teacher would grill me. She'll be like, do you know what this means? And I'm like there was one time where I really didn't know because I didn't do the homework because I was like swamped, and I had just been sick, and I came back and it was just so much work, and I came to class, even though I was like feeling like bad and I was like pissed, and she was like, do you know this? And I'm like, no, I don't know this. And she asked me like 3 separate times, and I'm like, I don't know, like I did not do the homework. I told her that in front of the whole class. I'm like, I do not know this. And then she went and talked, like I went later to talk to her on her office hour. She's like, you know, you haven't been doing well lately. Yeah, girl, I know. Like I was sick, like I wasn't here, like I was not here for a reason. I'm not skipping out. But as for the workload, it wasn't too bad. You would have 1 homework for 2 weeks. So 2 weeks, and then there'd be homework due. It was handwritten though, so it would take forever. It's actually better if you did it like during pieces during the week, because we would do like related lessons. It would be like a whole lesson in a span of 2 weeks. And then if you did those like corresponding parts when we did them in the synchronous or asynchronous class, then you would be better off. But of course, me being me, I don't do things when they're supposed to, so I did it all at one point. But it would take a few hours, but for me everything takes longer still. But yeah, we would have a dictation which counted as a quiz grade. So basically you had to read off the characters that you saw from, I guess, a certain day, and then you read off the characters for a certain day, and then you just submitted it. So I didn't do so well in those because I have a problem with memorization in general. I just am bad at memorizing things. That's why studying for me, it's not gonna work. It doesn't help if I just look at the words over and over and over again, because I just get mixed up in my head. It's better if I have like a video or something, if that makes sense. I don't know, repetition, okay, it works in my head. So I would always not do well on those, and then we'd have tests, and then I wouldn't do too terribly on those, but sometimes you would have to handwrite it, and I would completely forget the character, even though I could read and I'd be like, oh, I know what that means. But then once she's like, oh, write that character, I'm like, dang. So getting a good grade in that class wasn't too hard, but I assume next semester is going to be harder because, the difficulty of the class will go up more. I've already registered for next semester's classes. I wanted to take, because I'm taking calculus, I wanted to take physics at the same time because they're both hard. I wanted to get it out the way, kind of. And then the math and physics kind of worked with the calculus. And then they didn't, but they're not offering it next semester, which is really annoying. Which means I can only take certain classes at certain times, which is when they're available, and I'm like, why are you doing this to me? I try to take chemistry, no. So I'm not taking anything related to science right now. I fill it up with other like core curriculum requirements. Next semester, I'm taking calculus. Writing is inquiry, which is basically the follow-up of GPS. It's supposed to be a lot of writing, and I'm... what other class am I taking? I'm taking some IMA class, Interactive Media Arts class. It's a creative lab, something. It requires a curriculum requirement, so I'm just taking it because I didn't want to take computer coding. But I don't think I'm gonna do well in this either. Lab creative, not me. But I think I'm taking one more class. But what is it? I don't remember. I put it in. Oh, Chinese. Chinese, elementary Chinese too. Some people were recommending certain teachers, and I'm like, I was sick during the period in which you had to register. So that class filled up, so I just chose another one. I didn't really care. I just tried to make my schedule work. I made my schedule nice though, because I don't have any classes after like 1. So I hate waking up early, but if I wake up early, do all my classes, and then I have free time afterwards, I can get a lot more things done during the day than at night. As I have experienced, like, it's really hard to do class during the night. Like, some people, it's like, it's okay. Like, I'm pretty sure it's like harder on certain people that like being awake during the day. I don't have too much of a problem, but it's really disorienting because if you wake up and the sun's going down and then you go to sleep when the sun's coming up, or even when the sun is up, you don't really know what day it is. Like, I really don't. Like, I seriously don't know what day it is. My mom says sometime Christmas is coming, and I'm like, all right, like, I don't know what day it is. I'm sure I wrote it down somewhere in the calendar, but, you know, like, say if you get hungry. I live in New York, so there's a few things open, but usually, like, certain neighborhoods have more things that are open. Like, my neighborhood has, like, nothing. Everything closes at, like, 10 at the latest, because it's a mostly residential neighborhood. Like, my old neighborhood, we used to have everything. If you wanted a bagel at 3 in the morning, you had a bagel at 3 in the morning. Now, like, the closest deli is mad far, and if I don't have money, I'm not gonna spend it on delivery fees, so I had to go all the way over there at 3 a.m. Right? No. Yeah, so it's like you can't find stuff to eat. You can't really do your class. Like, it's hard to do your classes well because they're like, oh, go do this, and I'm like, it's like dark out. Like, I'm tired. Like, I'm trying to fall asleep. Even if you were awake if you went to sleep during the day and you're awake at night, you still feel this tiredness because it's dark, it's groggy, you're not feeling well. If you add caffeine, it just doesn't work. And then me personally, I get really stressed. Like, school makes me stressed. I don't like school. I don't. So, like, it makes me stressed. My mom holds me to a certain standard. It's just, I get stressed, so I get sick. My immune system, I have 2 types of migraines. I have an abdominal migraines, and I have, like, head migraines. So when I get stressed, like, with the abdominal migraines, I am out for like 2 days, maybe. One day, if I like jack myself up on medication, which I did during the school year. I had like 8 attacks during the school year. Like, it was bad. Like, lack of sleep, lack of regular eating time, stress, anxiety. So that was not, like, I missed a lot of coursework because of that. And this school moves quickly, and I find it to be hard. So it was not great. I was not having a good time. Actually, now is the time that I should actually talk about the staff and the support system. So I did say I get sick often. And when I mean I get sick often, I mean it. Like, I have a weak immune system, and then I have, as I said, the migraines. So when I'm out for 2 days, it's not because I want to. It's like I'm not able to be there present. Like, if I'm there presently, I will be screaming because I'm in pain. I don't know how I'm going to deal with that over there, actually. But, like, my medicine's also becoming less and less effective. So I've been taking my medicine, you know, been like, when it starts, you know, I try to take care of stuff as soon as it starts. If I have a cold, I mean, I've gone to school with colds, blah, 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 but if I have a fever, sometimes not good. Also, my periods don't play. They don't play. Like, I got in high school, I went to school every time, right? But I can't, like, it's really hard, like, and I don't want to keep taking medicine too much for it. But, like, there's some points where I just can't walk. Like, I'm not walking. I've been trying to take a leads every day for it. But, child. It's tough. It's tough. So, for me, I need, like, if I'm out, I need to be able to get back on my feet without sitting here and trying to do like 2 days worth of coursework in like 3 hours before class. And that's what I basically had to do, because I would email my teachers and they're like, you know, you should have told me earlier, like they did in high school. And I'm like, I should have told you earlier, girl. I couldn't get to the computer because I was on the floor in pain. I couldn't even think straight. I was pulling out my hair, girl. So I didn't tell you earlier because I wasn't able to, because I was sick. Like, what do you think what I'm doing? Like, I get, like, if you have a fever, you may, you know, like, I sometimes when I have a fever, I can just, like, I'll be watching TV, I sit there, somebody type a little bit. But, like, I'm sick, girl. Like, the reason why I'm not in your class is because I'm not doing well. I'm not feeling well. I'm sick. I'm out. Boom. You know, like, yeah, the teachers, I mean, they're nice, but, like, I feel like you could be more understanding that we're in the middle of a pandemic. Yeah, I'm not doing well. I'm not doing well, both mentally and physically and emotionally. And I'm in a different time zone. I'm working in a different time zone all the while trying to go over there, right? But no, like, you're not understanding. Like, even my neural basis of language and speech teacher, he didn't give a curve on that exam. And I'm like, bro, like, you need to stop playing. Like, I failed. Like, you need to curve that. Like, and I'm like, the other 2 girls I was talking to, they failed. They did better than me, but they failed. So I'm like, this is hard, and me not being there affects that too. Like, my performance is affected by not being there. Like, I talked to my advisor, and I was like, yo, like, oh, let me talk about my advisor, actually. I talked to my advisor, and I was like, yo, like, I have a lot, like, it's really hard to deal with this stuff right now. And I asked her a few questions, and she just basically rerouted me to sites, the school sites. And I'm like, why couldn't I ask you, because you should know specifics on my profile. Like, I asked her about my grant, about pass fail, whatever, and AP scores, and then she was like, here are these sites. And I'm like, basically, I really feel like the staff just says, damn, that's crazy. Damn, y'all do that. Have fun. So I emailed the dean, and I was like, so if we're gonna go to Shanghai during school, can we have like a day or two so we can get ourselves together? Because, like, these people had time to move in. They had time to buy supplies before and move into school like regular people, like move-in days, right? They had 2 weeks. We will have nothing. And he's like, well, you'll have the quarantine time. I'm like, so I'm supposed to get a blanket? Like, girl, I can't go anywhere in quarantine. And he's like, you know, we have the help desk, whatever, you know. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just accept that answer, because what am I gonna do? I'm not there. I had my classmates went over. One of the examples I gave is not having a blanket. And, you know, not having a blanket really does affect someone, because you don't have a blanket, you're cold, or you just like the weight of the blanket like I do and helps you sleep, right? And you're in a whole new different place. One thing like that can really make a difference. You know, you're in college. Sleep matters. Being comfortable matters. You know, you don't want to be so stressed. If I don't have a blanket, I'm gonna kill somebody. So my classmate did not have a blanket for 3 days. My man was in class, stressed as hell, and he's like, yeah, I don't have a blanket. He's like, you know, and the teacher's like, oh, how are you doing? He's like, not good. I'm not doing well. I don't have a blanket. I haven't been able to sleep well. And I'm like, this is exactly what I was talking about. Video. Let me just talk about that in terms of me going over. So the process of going over has been absolute hell. Everything has been changing. China's been going crazy. They all something different, because I don't understand why they doing this to us. Like, really? It's just been getting progressively worse as time has gone on. That whole freshman first year on campus experience, I don't have it. you know, everyone's like, oh, college, you know, your freshman year, you take it easy, you party, whatever, and then you do your work. But it's like, and yeah, I understand it's stressful. There's a pandemic, things are going to be harder, but China is making it unnecessarily hard for us to get there. Like, why are you making it so hard? Like, even the fact that they changed the window in which our test is valid and then added a blood test on top of it. Like, I understand you want to be really cautious, I get that, but then changing it so that only 3 testing sites are available, and they're all so like in places that are like far parts of the city, like the not outskirts, but like Flushing is not, like, unless you live in Queens, even you could live in a part of Queens that's really far from Flushing. Like, Queens is huge. I don't know, like, well, I mean, I guess we'll see. Thank you for watching my video, and if I do get to Shanghai, I will update y'all. I realize that having a channel does take work, and I do need to put more time into it. I really thought I'd be able to release videos bi-weekly, or maybe like try weekly every 3 weeks, you know, or at least once a month. But I just got so caught up and so like in my bag and just tired and didn't want to work on anything. So hopefully once I get back on my feet for next semester, I'll be able to regularly post. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video. Like if you like. If you have any questions, please leave it down in the comments. I may respond a little late because I don't check my channel often, because of I don't know. But yeah, happy holidays, y'all, if I post it in time for holidays. Yeah.